Crack open that bottle of wine. Grab your favorite glass, pour a couple of fingers of scotch in it. Get that stick, light it, and blow. It's time to hang with Steel Sharpen Steel After Dark.
Hello, hello, hello. It's time for Steel Sharpen Steel After Dark. And not just because it's kind of dark in California now because of daylight saving time thing. Welcome.
Welcome. I am Joy Stevens.
And I'm Tom Cunningham. And as Anthony said, we are here to turn it up another notch. We are in 2024. Woo woo!
Let me tell y'all something. If y'all don't start commenting while the countdown is happening, you're not gonna beat Anthony up in this room.
You really
understand that.
It's just not something that's going to happen ever. Like literally, it won't.
Thank you. We enjoy being your favorite Wonder Twins.
Man, look at you. Welcome to the show. We've got a lot to talk about, and a lot that we have to talk about is about a particular lawyer. As we said in the title of the show, she is the worst lawyer in America, which is, I mean, given the composition of Congress, it's saying a lot because there's a lot of really awful lawyers. And so to be at the top of the pile of awfulness is rather impressive. So shout out to our good friend Alina. Okay, Tigers.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Barbie. How you doing? And look at you on the steps.
I know.
Blue and white ensemble, just wrecking.
Even royalty. I love it.
Just giving the royalty.
This
we
AI
got Club
picture
Shay Johnson in the house. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, everybody. We are so excited to be here. So we're just going to get things started. Obviously, one of the things that is critical every day in this country, as it is today, is Donald Trump and what Donald Trump is up to. So we do have some Trump trouble, but not troublesome for him was the Iowa caucus, which he did manage to win by about 30 points. Since he is the presumptive kind of like incumbent for the Republican Party, you would imagine that he might have gotten a bit more support. I mean, basically what you're saying is that 40% of the caucus goers didn't vote for you. That's kind of what you're saying, 40%. Now, granted, you had an outsized margin of victory, sure, but it was also depressed turnout, and it's Iowa. Iowa doesn't really pick presidents so well, as it turns out. Not even nominees so well. Ted Cruz beat you in Iowa.
Well, yeah, so that happened.
Yeah.
But there's so much more happening.
Oh my gosh. The Jean Carroll trial. Let's go to the fraud trial. So when the fraud trial was first filed by our good friend Letitia up in New York, she was seeking about $250 million. She felt that the state had been defrauded and these companies had been defrauded of about $250 million over the course of and that was determined that the fraud had taken place. So this was supposed to be a trial to establish what the damages are, an evaluation of what the damages would be. At the end of that process, she came back and tacked on another $120 million for a total of $370 million, which is what she was requesting that the damages be determined.
It was a legal version of keep crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry about.
That thing.
Yeah.
Almost exactly that thing. Because he kept yelling, he kept screaming, he kept denying, he kept doing all of these things. He kept
violating everything, bruh.
And didn't have a jury. So you know that the judge is going to make the decision. And so you decide to attack the judge and attack the clerk and attack the judge's wife and do all of these things.
I want to break in on that. You said you know that it's the judge's decision. I don't know that he really, really understood that. I think that he continues to believe that his popularity with the common folk is going to carry the day, and that for some reason, if they get angry enough, or if he says, you better do what I say, or I'm gonna sick my, my militia on you, that things just naturally happen. But at least in the night now, we still have a judicial system, and it don't work like that. And I don't think he understood not having a jury, not having the court of public opinion be able to have any sway, and actually really being in trouble, possibly for the first time in his life. So he knew I don't know if he did. He knows now.
I think maybe he thought there was going to be like an American Idol call-in at the end of it. Be like, I want Clay Aiken. I want Ruben.
You know what's funny is you joke, but that's the last time I watched American Idol was like Ruben and Clay Aiken.
Yeah. Well, no, I saw the Fantasia year, and that was after Ruben, and that was a crazy year. But I mean, that was the Jennifer Hudson year. So
right. And then back to a crazy year. Trump is going to continue to have this year, y'all. This year is going to be insane. He's going to pull out all the stops. Because he has to win to keep from going to jail. There's a very good chance that some of this will include, if not prison time, absolutely house arrest for multiple years. So, and even he don't want to smell himself, because y'all know he stink. It's been in the news that he smells like ass and
oh my gosh. So ass, regret, poor decisions.
Because he is the crypt keeper, he is rotting from the inside out.
All the way from the inside out, which is getting a sequel inexplicably. The Pixar movie Inside Out.
Oh, it sure is. Mm-hmm.
And I don't think any of the original voice talent is attached, which tells you something. I mean, that may have just been like a...
Yep. I can't remember which senator it was, but he was on camera.
There was
saying he's staying, and it explains the face people make when they're standing behind him. Even
Melania. Right. Oh, that video was hilarious. That little compilation video of people standing by him and making faces. Yeah, that's not a great thing to be said about you, that you so foul that people question whether or not hobgoblins are.
It stands to reason, though. Remember when we were in elementary school and there was always some boy that smelled like pee? He is the pee boy, grown up and still bitter about his life. That's who it is.
Elect Trump. He is the people.
Pee boy for president.
Make America uric acid again.
Right.
That is, wow.
I'm not wrong.
So the other piece of trouble that Trump is in, despite the fact that Judge Engoron is going to ultimately have at least the initial say on what is going to happen. Of course, he's going to appeal. He's going to try to do all sorts of things because that's all he does. And he's certainly going to do it for $370 million or $250 million. Any 9-figure payout, he's definitely going to be appealing without question. So that's going to be put to the side. What is coming now this week that was active this week was the second Jean Carroll defamation trial. So there was the first one. And as a finding of fact, they determined that, in fact, he had sexually assaulted her. They didn't call it rape, but in the modern parlance, they said that would be considered rape now.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. He went out again after defaming her the first time to say she's a liar again. Yeah. And so immediately her lawyers were like, hey, can we file like another suit? And he was like,
he's the gift that keeps on giving.
And so now they're in, again, he got a $5 million judgment against him in the first trial. And now they're back for the second trial. And so the judge was saying, you can be here, but you need to keep your comments quiet, because he was saying stuff while Jean Carroll was testifying.
Yeah, that's his MO. He did it to Clinton.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. In the debate. So that could be witness intimidation, prejudicing the jury, all these sorts of things. So
he doesn't know that because he doesn't know any legal terms.
Well, no, he doesn't know it. And apparently neither does his lawyer. Seated here, in obviously a pre-trial thing because cameras are not allowed in the courtroom. She's there with her fillers in her lips and the Botox, one imagines, in her forehead, those cartoonish Cruella de Vil highlights, and actually not a bad jacket. The jacket is well constructed. So apparently, the trouble with having Alina Habba as your judge, as your attorney, is that your attorney is Alina Habba, who is horrible. Wait, I have a breaking news update. We have some tweets. There have been some tweets of the commentary between the judge and other court personnel and Alina Habba. We're going to do an audio representation of those tweets right now. Here's the first one. Let's show this.
Objection.
Ground.
It's prejudicial.
All evidence is prejudicial against the party it's offered against. Do you not know that there are actual types of objections? They're different things. You can't say prejudicial evidence. You might say testimony, perhaps, but just evidence, like that's the whole point. You're both trying to win. See, so they say stuff, and then you get a chance to say stuff.
She's missing her seasoning packet. Now, let me tell you what I mean. Every now and then, when you make ramen or macaroni and cheese from a box or whatever, the little seasoning packet is in there, and you throw the noodles in, and then you forget, and you throw the box away, and then you're stuck with something bland and tasteless that doesn't satisfy in any way, but that's all you got. And so she's missing her seasoning packet. All of the legal knowledge right out the box that she got from Temu when she ordered her legal degree.
Well, to be fair to Temu, I think she probably ordered it from Wish.
Right.
Because Wish must have their logistics coordinated by Lauryn Hill, because you might as well wait until the next fiscal year before you get nothing for Wish.
Right. You know what? He should have called Saul. Saul would have him out of jail by now.
Blam. Ben would have had. So what it calls into question, why is it that somebody like Trump, who literally had a bunch of different lawyers, I mean, he's got 6 different teams of lawyers now, why, on a case related to his financial well-being, why is it that he would try to use this young, relatively inexperienced woman to represent him on such a critical part of his livelihood? Why? I'm trying to figure out why maybe Donald Trump, famous misogynist, serial adulterer, and marrier of the women with whom he
adulterates.
Why did he choose her?
I mean, maybe she got next. Wait, show the picture of her sitting next to him again in court. She looks like if somebody tried to draw Melania from memory.
I was actually going to say she kind of looks like a young Gloria Allred in this picture.
Yeah, I can see it.
And you said you were talking about My Cousin Vinny. Vinny was actually a good lawyer. The original guy that Ralph Macchio's friend chose was the one who was the bad representation. Ha, and you didn't have your prescription glasses on. These reading glasses.
But that is what it sounds like in this courtroom.
Oh, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say youths?
Youths.
Breaking news. We have another tweet out of the Alina Habba testimony and her interactions with Kaplan. Here we go.
Do you know if there is a communications team at the White House?
I don't know.
I represent to you that it does.
You're not going to be representing anything, or you'll be a witness.
Oh.
Ma'am.
Let's give her one more shot. We'll give her one more chance to see what else is going on in the office. How do you suggest I proceed?
Show it to her. Ask if she recognizes it.
Do you recognize it?
Yes. It's not marked. It should be marked. Do it appropriately. Do it overnight. They need to be pre-marked. This is actual verbatim dialogue going
can
on.
You imagine the judge having spent so much time studying, getting his degree, passing the bar, coming up through the ranks, becoming a judge, to look down and say, this is where our legal system is right now? I would flip the whole podium over. Like, I quit. Just, you know what? Everybody's fired. Everybody in here going to jail.
Everybody fired. Everybody fired.
Exactly.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is that he hired her based on a strange resemblance to a woman who has apparently been otherwise completely absent from his life for the last year. And
throw a little Kardashian in there too, because she's got a little of that in the lips area.
Yeah, a little Kardashianage, and she definitely has maybe filler in her cheeks too, because and her eyes open wider than Melania's, but Melania was
Melania stay mad.
Renee Zellweger School of Optic Awareness. So it's kind of difficult to say, but I can't think of any reason why any rational person would continue to have her as the representation. She has not scored any points ever in any aspect of the trial.
Did anybody else want to take this case?
Well, one of his lawyers did leave this week. One of the lawyers who is representing him in the E. Jean Carroll case, who actually was experienced, did leave because he basically must have told him, you can't say anything about her while you're on trial for defaming her. You can't continue to make defamatory comments. You're not helping yourself. They will introduce your truths into evidence because they are public record. And then they will ask somebody whether or not these tweets were done. And that's how the jury, who is otherwise sequestered, is going to hear that you're still defaming her in the midst of a defamation trial. And so he left.
You should be his lawyer. You're good.
I never would give him tips. And thankfully, he doesn't watch the show. So it remains to be seen. There's not going to be too much more left. I mean, this was the last testimony of the week. He attempted to try to get today's testimony pushed because he was supposed to be attending the funeral of Melania's mother, which broke him up so much that he planned a New Hampshire campaign event the same day, while he also had a trial. But the judge didn't move it, saying that Trump isn't required to be there. So there isn't any reason for us.
It's better for him if he's not. Like, he needs to
absolutely.
But I remember when we first started talking about him being in any court, we knew he'd be his own worst enemy because he cannot shut up. And he has actually done the things that he's being accused of doing. And he wants to brag about it. He wants you to respect him for his ability to flout the law, but you can't brag about that in a courtroom.
Well, he bragged about it on Truth Social because he literally posted one of his little truths where he admits that he may have crossed the line, but that doesn't matter because absolute immunity is critical, or else people will be sued trying to determine what was good and what was bad. Bro, absolute immunity doesn't exist, and you're no longer the president. If it did exist,
you haven't been the president.
You're no longer the president. Although some MAGA people still believe he is the president, which is confusing because if he is the president now, he couldn't run for a third term. So,
I mean, I still believe I have a flat stomach, but if you look at me, you will see the truth. Sometimes the truth is just out there for you to see. Nobody can deny it.
Boo, 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 boo. Speaking of people that have disappeared off the face of the earth mysteriously after a series of interesting and intriguing trials.
He had enough money, Shay. He just didn't want to. He just liked her face. Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy.
I am looking at Vivek Ramaswamy, and he reminds me, and I hope this isn't taken the wrong way, he reminds me of Bobby Jindal after Bobby Jindal removed himself from the race. face.
Mm.
The same sort of dejected, poser boy. He's got his fleece-lined collar leaning up against deconstructed brick with some graffiti on it, pouting his lip like he's serious. He
No.
spent $15 million to get, I think they said 8,000 votes enough.
Yeah.
8,000 votes, and you spent $15 million. And what's crazier is that you had $15 million to spend.
Right. And now you don't. That's a negative.
Don't.
You took an L, son. But
you took a
he
big
did, but then he didn't. But he totally did. But in his mind, he's going to work this round because he's become a surrogate for Trump. That's his next plan, is to the same stumping he's been doing the whole time. He's been nothing but a Trump, I'm going to say some terrible things, follower this entire time. Even while he was campaigning, it was look at how much I love Trump. I drink his bathwater. So now he's made bathwater drinking a job. That's what he's going to do.
I mean, but Trump doesn't pay nobody. So why would he pay somebody who
this time
he's a
will be different?
Yeah, I don't know, Vivek. This is not what I would consider to be a great situation for you. I thought legitimately before he started campaigning, when I first heard that he was going to be running, he did an interview on NPR. And when I listened to him on the interview, I thought he was a legitimate threat because he was coherent. He had a point of view. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me since he's a practicing Hindu, but talking about monotheism and Christian nation. But
I want you to think about what you just said. He seemed like a legitimate threat. The next thing out of your mouth was he's coherent. That's where we are in American politics. He's a legitimate threat because he can string words together.
Absolute foolishness.
Right.
I mean,
I'm gonna run
compared to the rest of the field.
You know what? How now, brown cow? That's gonna be I'm gonna have little cow stuff everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I mean, to his credit, nobody knew who he was before. And now some people know. He definitely could get like a podcast or a right-wing talking point show.
That's where he becomes dangerous because he is, regardless of how we feel about him, he is brown. He could hypothetically be, and I hope they never see this, a Fox News Rush Limbaugh 2.5.
Oh, Rush's audience would never embrace him the same way that they embrace Rush.
Probably not, but if he said all the right things, they could say, we agree with him. And look, we're not racist because he's brown.
Oh, I mean, Candace Owens has that locked up pretty well, but you know.
If him and Candace had a show, I would risk prison to set the set on fire.
Well, Joe Rogan is kind of like the new Rush Limbaugh, I guess, especially since his demo skews younger. So I would say he's closer to a 2.0 or a 2.5 than Vivek will ever be. Just because Vivek is never going to get the hard core of that base because of race.
Right.
At least Nikki Haley looks barely tame.
She presents as allowable.
She has
a tolerable level of melanin.
The melaninity has not exceeded the threshold.
She's in spec for melanin count.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, 2 more drops though, she'd be out the race.
Well, I'm saying she's between the pure white paper bag and like the Bloomingdale's bag.
She's mother of pearl.
In that pocket.
Eggshell.
Swiss mocha. She's the Swiss mocha of candidates. That's what she is. So Vivek, we hardly knew ye, and we're glad to not have to deal with you too much anymore. Speaking of people who also had a tough time at the Iowa caucus.
You know what? These are faces that do not need 4D. I tell you that.
Well, you're headed into New Hampshire. Look, both of you looking like that craggy old man in the mountain.
You know what? Close up. Look at this. I'll be 50 in 2 weeks.
There you go. Look at
and then they go back, right? The flawlessness. And
And the most you can say about Ron DeSantis coming out of Iowa is that he's number 2.
He's definitely a number 2.
He's a number 2. And that's not a slogan I think you want to carry into your next state. Also, you are walking into a buzzsaw in New Hampshire, Ron DeSantis, because you are in single digits. At least Nikki Haley is within spitting distance.
Yeah, she's been, relatively speaking, like the only real contender with Trump on the field. Yeah.
She might be 8 to 10 points back. Some people have her almost an even footing, but it's probably reasonable to expect that she's going to be about 8 points behind him in New Hampshire. The governor of New Hampshire, Chris Sununu, has endorsed her, and it is true that she's going to get a chunk of votes. However, Trump is already making hay out of the fact that a lot of her votes are coming from independents and Democrats who have the ability to vote in the New Hampshire primary. So
that's what I was talking about. My fear about Nikki, and the fact that I'm starting to think, you know what, if she won, it wouldn't suck terribly, is that there are a lot of independents who hate all the other choices. There are a lot of rhinos who are like, well, we're not racist if we vote for her, and she's not him. So a lot of the not Trump is also not Biden, and she is a viable alternative to them. Especially now that Biden's got the whole genocide and Biden thing going.
I absolutely agree that in a matchup between someone who is unpopular and widely perceived as old, somewhat feckless and ineffectual, that she could do some damage. On the other hand, there are lots, if Trumpers leave the election like they did in Georgia for the special election, because Trump wasn't on the ballot. If Trump's not on the ballot, the party is going to lose that hardcore support.
Yeah.
They needed every vote in 2016.
Every single vote. And they sold some. Yeah.
Right. They increased the vote in 2020 and still lost. If you lose even half if you lose 10% who were rabid Trumpers and don't want to play ball, and on the side of Trump being the candidate, if Trump is the candidate, you've got at least 10% of never Trumpers who are like, no, I'm a Republican, but I can't have him in office again. It's ridiculous. So it's going to be tight. A lot of people are saying, oh, he's going to be president. People hate Biden, blah, 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 blah. We will see.
Yeah.
Biden has problems. Trump has a lot of problems too. And there are people on the Democratic side who voted for Trump in 2016, who might still be inclined to vote for him again. Some of them voted for him in 2020. They might try to vote for him again. But there are more people, I think, in the Republican Party who definitely don't want him to be in office and will deal with a hand on the rudder steward like Biden, who is actually not a progressive. He's, never really has been a progressive, but he's a Democrat. None of those people's stock portfolios have fallen. None of those people's investments have failed. There's nothing wrong with having a sane person in the White House.
You're presupposing that Trump wins the nomination, but what if he doesn't?
Well, if he doesn't, then you're back to scenario one, which is the Trumpers are going to remove themselves because a lot of them were never involved in the process in the first place. They're just going to set back, and maybe Nikki Haley is acceptable. But if you lose that 10%, or God forbid, lose 20%, she's in an uphill battle anyway. And the problem with the whole Nikki Haley thing is that her buzzsaw, curiously enough, is South Carolina.
Where she's from, though?
Where she's from, she can't beat Trump.
It'd be your own people.
It'd be your own people. Trump will have to be in a coma and considered non-viable as a candidate anymore for her to move forward. Because basically, he's right. New Hampshire, she's going to be buoyed by non-Republicans. There's a month between New Hampshire and South Carolina. A month. And probably DeSantis is going to drop out. when DeSantis leans his support, because he's going to have to endorse, he's going to
gonna
have
give
to
it to
endorse
Trump.
Trump. And so those rabid MAGA people who liked DeSantis as an alternative to Trump will have to go back to Trump because they like MAGA-dom, which is Trump. And Haley is basically the non-MAGA candidate. So I don't see where the math comes together.
You know what? You're right. The math isn't math. And so ultimately, the Republicans are in trouble because if they put up Trump, they're going to lose some of their bases. Like, I can't do this nonsense again. And if they don't put up Trump, they lose everybody else that's not in that camp. So the Republicans are stuck in a rock and a hard place. Well, not hard, but a rock and the opposite place. So, but I still want the Democrats to put up somebody better than Biden. There's just
I mean,
this is the same problem we see in corporate America, where you have all these old fuddy-duddies running companies and they have not built a bench. They don't have somebody coming up to be the next CEO because they've been holding on to power so long, running their company into the ground, and then want to blame everybody else for it. It's the exact same thing we're seeing in the United States.
Well, I gotta say, I like Eric Swalwell. I think if he gets the opportunity to become a national figure, I mean, he's been doing some testimony stuff. He's done a good job yelling at Republicans in committee meetings. He just needs a boost. He needs to be on a DNC speaker.
Yeah.
For real. He needs a spotlight. There are a couple of other, people like Jamie Raskin, but Jamie Raskin's too old. Plus, he wears those weird things around his head, and that's not going to fly. And but we do need some people. And Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is on the bench.
Yeah,
it's just he did a good job against DeSantis. But because he's California, maybe it's tough. I mean, Harris came from California, but she's a Veep, and so that doesn't count as much.
What about your boy Colin in 2028?
Well, he's got to beat Cruz. Now, according to the endless texts that I get from him every single day, 5 times a day, they are statistically tied, and they've actually transformed that race from leans Republican to battleground.
Yeah.
So some people are saying that Ted Cruz is the most vulnerable senator in the entire country right now. So I'd love to see Colin Allred win. That would be spectacular. I don't know that he can jump right from Texas into the White House, but I'm also a little scared of the Bradley effect with him. It's no. Hell
no. You know what?
He's so
he's charismatic. He could, if we still would allow people, well, not saying that we don't, he could win on charisma alone if he had a national stage. The problem is he's from Texas and he lost his last bid in Texas. And so Texans are going to view him as a loser. They're not going to, and if he can't carry his own state, that could taint him when he tries to reach a national audience. So we'll just see how it goes. But I don't think he's got the clout to go beyond the Southwest.
No. I mean, who thought that Bill Clinton was going to emerge from Arkansas? Yeah. He needs to not lose. He needs to not be a loser.
He needs to win something because he hasn't won anything he's gone up for yet.
Right.
Other than some hearts and minds in South Texas, which.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And you got Abbott in there right now. I don't see. I mean,
Abbott is in there trying to start Gilead. Y'all don't understand. This man is determined to take over every woman's womb that even flies over Texas. It is ridiculous. I actually worry about my friends. My friends that have had hysterectomies already because we're all pushing 50 are like, whew, Lord, Jesus, thank God. It's bad. Texas is not a place for young people to live. I apologize to those of y'all in Texas. Get out.
I mean, Houston, but
Houston is still in Texas. You're right. Houston is an anomaly.
Right. It's an island.
Austin pretends to be an anomaly, but it's just as bad as the rest of the state. They pretend to be the weird, whatever. You weird and voting wrong is what you are. But Houston is Houston is actually a sanctuary city. We just don't say it a whole lot.
Houston is like
Atlanta.
It's like Berlin in the USSR, surrounded by hostile territory. And they split the city in half so that both pieces of the country can have a piece of Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like Lesotho in the middle of South Africa, just like just, waiting for the dam to burst and to get flooded like at the end of Superman. It's tough to be in Texas. And
Yes.
as a native Texan, that's vexing. But
Yes.
I can't be vexed about the status of what is, because it is. It just is what it is. It makes me wonder if Abbott would have been a better presidential candidate than DeSantis, because DeSantis was absolutely convinced that Trump was going to implode. And he was going to be able to step in there because he's got hair. I think that's the only rationale he thought, because
and those white boots.
He's not a good speaker. You could understand.
He's not even a good picture taker.
No, with the fake smile and the. It's like, what was that? In the Addams Family, when she goes to the camp and they're like, "You can smile, can't you?" And she forces herself to smile. It's like, I'm scared. It's like not real. And you could see why somebody would line up behind Obama, because Obama oozes charisma. You can see why somebody would line up behind Bill Clinton. He oozes charisma in a way that Al Gore did not. And so you have people who have great political instincts and great political skill. I don't credit Trump with having great political skill. He definitely has feral instincts and knows how to speak to the lizard brain of
right. And the lizard brains voted for him. That's exactly what happened.
That's what it is. But you can see why Barack Obama could inspire someone. Even if he's not writing the words, he knows how to deliver the words.
Yes, he does.
Ron DeSantis does not. He is absolutely horrible.
For someone who is so hell-bent on critical race theory and everything else and trying to fix education, you could stand and take a couple reading classes yourself, homeboy.
Well, and speaking of DEI, they have just now officially canceled any funding of DEI programs at any of the 28 state schools in Florida, of which my alma mater, Florida A&M, is one. And the language of it on the campus of Florida A&M as a state school in the state of Florida is really sketchy. No money, forbidding the teaching of diversity, advantages of race, blah, 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 blah. There's no advantage of race in at Florida A&M.
No.
But
can they still teach Black history, or is that considered racist?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, hell, can you have a D9 fraternity or sorority?
Right. Can you have a women's studies class?
Historically, well, this is what I'm saying. This is a particularly dangerous person who I'm very glad is going to end his career as governor, because he doesn't have anywhere to go. And so that's a blessing. But he's really trying. And by the way, you are not out of the woods on your First Amendment suit with Disney. Disney, Ron. It's Disney. And you're going to be a loser to your state in the middle of your lawsuit against Disney, because you're going to be suspending. If you don't suspend before the next 6 days or 5 days, whatever, before New Hampshire, you're going to suspend between New Hampshire and South Carolina. You're already laying off people from your super PAC. The head of your super PAC has endorsed Trump.
Don't nobody like you. Go lay down.
Nobody. You went to all 99 counties thinking that was going to win you Iowa. You won not a single county, bro. Not one out of the 99. And what that tells you is that
you had 99 problems and didn't solve one.
Not a one. And what it tells me is that you went thinking that people were going to start loving you, but the more they saw you, the less they liked you. Even though you came in second place, 30 points behind the front runner, which apparently is the largest landslide in the history of the Iowa caucuses.
Ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
They go, but, you know what? Wait, hang on. I think I'm hearing something.
Wait. Breaking news. We've got another tweet.
They're back. Have you deleted text messages and not just emails?
When I see threats, I delete them.
Can we have a sidebar?
No. We can't have a sidebar, no. Just gonna say no.
He hates her. I know he hates her.
Hates her with a white hot passion. How can you
Like,
hate
I
this
feel
face?
like,
How could you hate this face?
wait, you know what?
She's got a smoky eye.
I feel like the Play-Doh on her nose is coming off a little bit. Look at it again. You see how her nose is crooked? Like she sneezed hard and it's not healed yet, so the nose job is a little off. Like it's purple.
Alina, are you okay? Alina, are you okay? Are you okay, Alina? Alina, are you okay? It does seem like it's off center too.
Yes.
Like maybe it's pointing a little off center.
She's got a little push up on the end of it that's probably not original and it's not even.
Yeah, she's been struck by a bad surgery. Ow! Not a potato head. Did you all see I'm sorry, stream of consciousness. Did you all see the Steve Harvey potato head in the aftermath of the Cat Williams trial?
Yes. Yo, I'm gonna go real quick while you're talking, just so I can pull that up for everybody.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. So we have an awful candidate who is number 2 out of the Iowa caucuses. Nikki Haley, with a respectable showing, about 2 points behind number 2, has a head of steam on her going into New Hampshire. But once again, she is stepping in it because she refuses to acknowledge the issues that have plagued our country around the subject of race. And so she's saying the United States has never been a racist country. So that's interesting because we have pulled a clip of someone who stitched together some of her previous statements about race in the context of this interview where she's saying that America does not have a problem with race. So here we go.
You involved in a racist party?
No, we're not a racist country, Brian.
I was a brown girl in a black and white world. We faced discrimination and hardship.
We've never been a racist country.
Dad and I stopped by the local produce market. As he was putting his produce in his basket, I noticed something start to happen. The couple working at the market was getting nervous. They were whispering, and then they got on the phone. A few minutes later, 2 uniformed police officers showed up.
And take it from me, the first minority female governor in history, America is not a racist country.
At Thanksgiving, someone had the bright idea to give me the role of Pocahontas in the school play. Did they realize I wasn't that kind of Indian? America is not a racist country.
We were the only Indian family in our small southern town. I was teased every day for being brown. I was disqualified from a beauty pageant because I wasn't white or black, because they didn't know where to put me.
We've never been a racist country.
Where to put you? I think most beauty pageant contestants are put on the stage.
Yeah.
Unless you have a segregated beauty pageant where you have a black pageant and a white pageant.
Right. And since you couldn't pick either.
White homecoming queen. But that's not racist. By the way, her father taught at an HBCU. Probably because he couldn't get a job with white folks. I think he was like a professor of chemistry or something.
Yeah.
And he taught at Voorhees, I believe. Which isn't even the best HBCU in South Carolina. But, I mean, hey, it's not. I like Voorhees. I know the president of Voorhees. And he's doing a spectacular job.
Befuddled. Yes.
Right. And that her name is actually spelled with a T, but not on Truth Social, where Trump spelled it with a D.
That's what Vera was going for.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't know the word befuddled. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Befuddled. Fuddled.
I'm befuddling. I'm the best fuddler. I've befuddled lots.
Nobody's a better fuddler.
Right. I don't befuddle anymore because, they're getting older. I don't like the fuddle anymore,
Fuddly duddly doodly doo.
Right.
Um,
Scoop-de-woo.
Scoop-de-woo. And that's the, oh, there you go. You got it. Okay. Thank you very much. Is this this is a side-by-side of Steve Harvey as Mr. Potato Head, which
Right.
it's scary that you actually didn't have to Photoshop Mr. Potato Head to see the comparison.
Nope. But then there's another one. Yo.
This is the one that is ill. And somebody
This
put
is dirty.
the teethus, those extra large teethus. And it reminds me, one of my favorite content producers is Kev on Stage, and he has a podcast where he has himself and like 3 other ladies, I think.
Mhm.
And they were talking about veneers. And one of the guests said, I don't understand why people be getting these veneers and have 10 front teeth. Like, we have different shaped teeth, but whenever you see somebody with veneers, it's all chiclets all across the top
Right.
and the bottom. And the chick who is
Looking
on
like
the
Lee
show,
on nails in their mouth.
I mean, she started whooping, laughing like a siren of a hurricane warning system. And it was like, but why are the teeth the same? Our teeth are different. You got 2 front teeth, those are the big ones, and then you got canines, you got incisors, you got,
Yeah.
and it was so true. It
Mhm.
was so true. That's
I'm
why
sitting there counting my teeth now, like 6 at most need to be flat straight.
And not even, I mean, but smaller. Like, there's variations. Your teeth are not supposed to look like the Attack on Titan wall. Like, you just gotta.
They look like remember they used to do the commercials for like Polydent or whatever, like they put the little teeth in and it would dissolve in the little blue. People just pulling them teeth out and wearing them. You know what? This is what happens when you get your veneers off of Temu.
Teeth move.
Double dare teeth.
Oh, geez. Thank you, Chan. Welcome, Chan.
Chan.
With a comment in the chat. We're going to start calling the chat the Chan.
No.
So we can move on to some what I would consider to be, but if it was Mushmouth, he'd have that little Scully.
Yes, all of this. And apparently they deserve all the smoke because nobody has called Cat a liar yet.
Oh, no. Although Mike Epps did try to say that the jacket he was wearing, that Fendi jacket, was a fake Fendi jacket until somebody, not even Cat Williams, pulled up the receipts and was like, no, it's $4,800. It's right here on the website. You can get it now. I mean, Mike Epps, if you could afford $4,800. Because there's not like a next Friday after next. Or maybe there is, and maybe you're in it, but
2 Fridays from now.
Yeah, 2 Fridays from, I know what you did last Friday.
Which was nothing.
Yeah, right? Because you're unemployed.
You know what? Leave him alone.
Some people who did have a better week than almost every political candidate in the universe were several Black folks at the Emmys. Both in the Creative Arts Emmys and the main Emmys, which debuted on Monday.
Yes.
We had Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary, who became only the second Black woman, the first Black woman in 42 years to win the lead actress Emmy in a comedy, and Isabel Sanford, who played Wheezy Jefferson, was the last one to win.
Right.
If you can believe that. Now, Cheryl Lee Ralph won a supporting, but this was the main trophy. We have Edibiri from The Bear. I've only seen like pieces of an episode of The Bear. It's a very intense show. Don't know if I would call it a comedy, but I guess a Black comedy. That dress is stunning on her. And then Niecy Nash and her special guests. She won for supporting in Dahmer. So one could say that it kind of follows a trend where, like, Halle Berry won her Oscar for playing a distressed woman. Charlize Theron won her Oscar for ugling herself up. Hattie McDaniel won an Oscar for playing a maid, blah, blah, blah. And so the role that Niecy Nash played so excellently in Dahmer was a stunning performance. It's just not a shame, I guess, but it's just I wish that what had been represented, or the category in which she had been represented, was one that wasn't centered on the torture form of Black bodies.
Now, I will say this. My observation around the Oscars, aside from glaring oversights that we all know about, is they want to give the Oscar to someone that surprised them with their ability.
Right.
And so
Emmy.
Thank you. But that goes for the Oscars too. But for the Emmy, yeah, surprise them with their ability. So when they vote, they don't vote for. They vote for some people. Like if what's his name? If Jack Nicholson does anything, he's going to get a nomination for it because he's Jack Nicholson, whether he's good or not. But if you think about Training Day, as far as Oscar nominations, because nobody really believed that Denzel Washington could be a bad guy. It just, a lot of folks were uncomfortable in that movie. Like, I couldn't stand him. And I didn't want to hate Denzel, but I hated him. Like you said, Charlize Theron and Halle Berry had to uglify themselves to some extent to be taken seriously in a dramatic role. Because if they were just beautiful, nobody would believe them. And so Niecy Nash being nominated and winning for that role, yeah, the role is gross, but nobody really thought she could pull that off. You know,
it's kind of
nuance.
It's the Monique of it. When Monique won for Precious,
yes,
it was something so far out of what people had come to expect from her as an actor that it was rewarded. Even though, I mean, you talk about a monster. I mean, wow, that's got to be.
I never saw Precious again. I saw it.
I was about to say, there aren't many movies. I don't feel compelled to watch 12 Years a Slave again. I don't feel compelled
because
to watch
I felt like a slave. Yo, I was like, don't run, don't you run. They're gonna catch you. I was in the theater like, just stay. I was a slave to my heart for about 2.5 hours.
It was Lupita for me. I couldn't watch that happen to that woman again. I could not. I just yeah, that's right, CJ. And happy Founders Day week to you as well.
Happy Founders Day to all my lovely women of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I know we're a couple days late. We're going to throw
and Zeta Phi
Happy
Beta.
Founders Day to all the women, all the devastating divas of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and all the other January babies.
Well, Zeta Phi Beta just had their Founders Day.
Happy Founders Day to Zeta Phi Beta. And everybody.
I think Phi Beta Sigma too. Is that the last one?
Probably. Aren't they on? They're connected.
There's 5. Yeah, I think they're. Yeah.
All the January babies.
All the January babies. Congratulations to you all, and celebrations for all of us.
You stay
just
killing
over
them.
100 years ago.
You stay killing them with these profile pictures, though, CJ. I'm peeping you. I'm peeping your game, girl.
Oh yeah, that's
Shoulders out.
a brilliant smile. Look at the glossy lip, and look at you rocking it. Oh, there you go. Okay, so Lady of Alpha Kappa Alpha in the hizzy. I think we've run through everything in the show this week. I will say that I'd like to shout out, and I encourage everybody to go see American Fiction.
Wait,
it is. Oh, what?
Breaking. I think we still have
we have another tweet coming.
Yes. So she said 2 different things about Montana.
She said it's great, and before she said it's not boring. That's your difference?
I can ask another question?
That would be a good idea.
Miss Carol, are you aware that it's illegal to delete evidence?
Objection.
I move for a mistrial. Evidence has been deleted.
Denied, and the jury will disregard everything Ms. Habba just said.
And now my screen is tearing up. Stop.
Ooh.
Thank you. I was getting lag. Sorry about that.
No, you're okay. So we were talking about American Fiction since we just got on the Emmy winners. Congratulations also to RuPaul, who once again, I mean, He just keeps winning.
How many years in a row is it? Now, granted, the show stays good.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the show. I'm just saying, like, it's kind of crazy that a show that is exactly the same every year keeps winning. It's a reality show.
You know what it is about RuPaul's Drag Race that is so compelling? Aside from the magic that those dudes be just transforming into, is the stories they tell in the in-between times. And I'm not talking about when they come for each other in the, behind the scenes. I'm talking about when they talk about whether or not their family supports them and how they grew up and how they're still hiding this. And it's always a different story, which I think lends itself to giving that demographic more nuance so that we don't see them as a monolith. Like, I love what the show does, even though it's got its issues, even though there have been rumors about how it is on the set and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, it builds empathy. And I think that's one of the biggest draws for that show is you're going to cry at some point. You get a little misty behind something that happens on that show every season.
Well, and I guess one of the other things that gives it an advantage over most reality shows is that they always have celebrities coming on the show to be judges. So it's a little bit different. It's not like Survivor where it's just Jeff Probst and people in the dirt. You've got some stuff going on every time. But it's just amazing to me. Like, I don't even know who applies anymore to be a reality show.
What's crazy is you hear people that are now applying for the show saying, I've been watching Drag Race my whole life. And then you realize how old you are.
That's nuts.
I want to say season 1 came out in like 2005 or something like that. Like, I gotta look it up.
I mean, I guess that sounds about right. I'm talking about other reality shows applying for consideration against RuPaul's Drag Race. It's like the opposite of Susan Lucci. He just keeps winning and winning and winning. And there was somebody else who got a Creative Arts Emmy. I'm not sure. It was another female creative. But congratulations to all those folks for making this a pretty Emmy So Black, kind of an Emmy So Black thing. Since Viola Davis was the first, I think, Black woman to win for dramatic lead actor, female. And she had a very heartfelt speech.
2009. Yeah.
There you go. And then Cheryl Lee Ralph had a great acceptance speech. So it's just great. Quinta Brunson is amazing. I love Abbott Elementary.
I loved her since she was doing shorts on Cocoa Butter.
Black ladies on who?
Cocoa Butter. The Facebook page that just does like little stuff. Yeah. I've been following her since back. I got her single, which is called These Hands. I'll play it for you at some point.
Oh, I think I've seen that on YouTube or something.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
And I loved her on Black Lady Sketch Show, which is still a very good show.
And it's funny because I remember when she wasn't on there, I was like, oh, why they do her like that? She was doing so good. She got her own show.
Her own show and now has an Emmy. Great. Okay.
Give her all the flowers.
Yeah, she deserves all of her flowers. And maybe if we water her, she'll grow. But what I will say is, I mean, she's tiny. She's a little person. Anytime Cat Williams can stand next to you and look like The Rock.
You know what, Cat? I'm not with him. If Cat Williams, if you ever see this, I ain't do nothing wrong. It's all him. I ain't said nothing about you. I love you.
I was complimenting your height, Mr. Williams. Don't come for me, please.
Right, we can't have it.
But what I will say is, getting back to my point, as I was trying to bring the show to a close in under an hour, but that's not going to happen, is go see American Fiction. American Fiction starring Jeffrey Wright, Tracy Ellis Ross, Erica Alexander, and Sterling K. Brown, and Leslie Uggams in a surprisingly large role. And Leslie Uggams looks amazing.
Wow.
Amazing.
I didn't even see them in the promos for that. I didn't know he was in it.
Well, Leslie Uggams, I don't think is in any of the promos. Maybe with a hug when he goes to the house to see the family. But the thing I really appreciate about American Fiction, above everything else, is that it is a representation of Black life in America that is very different from what we're used to seeing.
It's not a caricature.
No, you've seen it, a little slice of it on Jumping the Broom, except there's nobody who's ghetto in American Fiction. Even Issa Rae, if you've seen her in the previews, you might think something about her character that is completely flipped in the third act. So it's really a great show. This is a Black family where the father was a doctor and two of the children are doctors, and one of the other child is an award-winning novelist who works at I want to say it's not Princeton, it's might be Columbia. Anyway, he works at an Ivy League school. They have a house on Martha's Vineyard. They have a house in the city. And they even have a maid who has grown up with them their entire lives. And she's Black. And she's a part of the family. And I mean, it's really, really a rare representation of a different slice of the truth of Black experience in this country. And Jeffrey Wright is amazing, as he always is, ever since when he was stabbing his chest with that knife in the first Shaft movie, the first remake. He is amazing. And Tracee Ellis Ross is playing kind of against type. She's not just like a purely funny person. And that's also true in another project that she's a new film that she's coming out in with not the best wig in the world, but it looks very intriguing. She's great. Sterling K. Brown is great. And like I say, Leslie Uggams with a surprising performance. And she looks amazing. And Jeffrey Wright has to get a nomination. He just has to, because it's that good. It's arch and it's funny. It's mostly dry funny, but there is some like out loud moments. Mostly with the white characters who are somewhat broadly drawn, but it's a very, very good movie. This week I'm trying to see Book of Clarence, which
I'm trying to see Book of Clarence. Yeah,
I'm not as hyped about it, but
I enjoy what is his name? The main character, Clarence.
Yeah, Lakeith.
I enjoy Lakeith's work. I've been digging him since he was Magical Negro on Atlanta. Since he was the poster child for Get Out. He's good, and it's like simultaneously overdone and yet subtle. I don't know how he pulls that off. Very soft voice saying some outrageous stuff.
Right. Atlanta was a great introduction of the breadth of his talent. Well, at least for me. He may have done. Did you see
Sorry to Bother You?
I did.
And he was also with Judas and the Black Messiah.
Yes, he was very good in Judas. Again, a performance you perhaps did not expect from him. I was not a fan of Sorry to Bother You. I'm sorry. I think
it was so freaking weird, dude. I liked it. I wouldn't recommend it to somebody without telling them it's weird. It's better if you're high when you watch it.
Or you just walk out by the time people.
That's the thing is I watched it on like Netflix or something. So
okay. Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
Oh no, sorry. So sorry. Okay. Anyway.
But this should be an interesting year for creative projects, and I'm also looking forward to Civil War, which is frighteningly prescient. I fear I could legitimately see Jesse, whoever Kirsten Dunst's husband is, he's playing a person on the wrong side of the Civil War, as far as I'm concerned, and I could absolutely see him being that person. And there's a line in the trailer that says, look, we're American. Okay, but what kind of American are you? And he's got these red see-through glasses, and it's like, oh, see.
Yeah, he's
between that and Leave the World Behind. I'm like,
I'm telling you, just be ready. Get your seeds and your fertilizer, have some soil, have some water and some water purifiers and a couple of guns, and you can make it to somebody with more guns. You got to know where all your friends with guns are. I'll tell you right now, I know where all the guns are, and I'm going to be there when the shit hits the fan.
I think I'm just going to just get on the road and head up to Canada and just.
From California, though?
Keep walking until I get to Alaska and just chill. Because zombies won't make it up there. And
why would you go north when Mexico is right there?
I mean, I kind of feel like if our country starts falling to shit, it's going to be a little bit easier for Mexico to fall off.
But Mexico is a great jumping off point for everything else. Like if I had to choose some place I had to drive to get out of the States, I'm going to Mexico. Actually, I'm going to Florida and I'm gonna kill somebody and take their boat. And then I'm going to Cuba or Haiti or whatever. That's always the plan. Kill somebody and take the boat.
The hosts of Steel Sharpens Steel do not in any way endorse great to other countries.
Canada is shutting down. Like, yo, I'm gonna need to see some papers. Wait, did we talk about this? Okay, so totally random joiner here. Brazil is now demanding that you show like $2,000 cash in your checking account in order to come to Brazil, because these passport bros that keep going out there trying to find their perfect woman get out there and can't get home because they get scammed. And now the whole country is like, don't bring your broke ass here. We don't want you neither.
We don't. Sugarloaf is just a mountain. Like, we don't need you sleeping at the foot of Sugarloaf and
exactly
trying to make a bed of random feathers from Carnival.
Prove you have a job before you come here.
Job with a bank account.
Right.
And a lot of countries ask that you have a return ticket. They want to see that, and they want to know where you're staying and if it's a hotel and da-da-da-da-da. A lot of countries do that. But Brazil is like the passport, bro. You just
money.
You ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going
to lower the property value of Brazil.
Of Brazil. You know, I don't want to get on a rant on passport bros, but I'll just say this. Her next boyfriend picked her up at the airport.
Mm-hmm.
When you went in the front door, she got in a taxi with the next boyfriend.
Your flight leaves at 8. His flight lands at 9. Her game just rewound.
His game just rewound. And if you only come twice a year for a week at a time, she's got 50 other boyfriends. And that's your queen. Which, if
and I
you're
know you don't
with
think
that,
the little curly hair brown boy is yours, do you? Like, it could be anybody's. That is
there's black men in Brazil, bro.
Yeah.
Like straight up black men. They got every color. It's like an uninterrupted ombre.
Yes.
Of dudes in Brazil. Going all the way from Snipes to Michael Ealy. An uninterrupted
to you
ombre. That's not your lady.
No, she's a lady. Well, she's a woman.
New man.
So all I want to say about it is this: you have to show $2,000 in your bank account to spend at least $500, maybe $800 on round trip and hotel to get down there to wine and dine this woman who's granted is going to break you off or whatever. Then you come back with whatever venereal disease she got, because it's rampant on the beach out there anyway. When you could have got with some of these desperate late 30-year-old women for a 2-piece, bro. Like, your belief that something is better on the other side of the fence is just ridiculous at this point.
You don't speak Portuguese, bro.
You don't even speak Spanish, which you thought you could get away with.
Which you thought you could get away with. 2 entirely different languages, bro. You don't speak Portuguese. That's not your lady. It's not your lady.
She has options.
She has plenty of options.
It's 25. Yes. Of the whole lot, idiots. Anyway, we'll leave them in there.
And lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she's walking,
he asked you $2,000. She wants to know your credit score. She wants to know. They want to know. The whole country wants to know your credit score. The same way somebody might ask you what you do for a living over here.
Tell me your FICO. Let me see ATM receipt. You got to have $2,000 or else we'll put you back on a plane. Don't bother coming again.
Tom Cunningham, ladies and gentlemen.
I used to do that in college too. I did song parodies for talent shows and stuff. That was kind of one of the things I was known for.
Mm. Okay, what else do we have to cover? Do we have anything that we have?
We don't have anything to cover. We have to cover Scott and Stream. That's what we have to cover.
Okay, well, I just want to say it was good to be back in the swing of things again. And Sharpie, so just as a heads up, we are going to start kind of, it's an election year. We got a whole lot of politics to cover this year. We're going to start, getting back into the political swing of things. We're also looking for guests. So this is not guest hosting, because we figured out y'all are kind of sick of trying that, but we're looking for guests to interview. So if you know someone that would like to be on the show to share their business, share their view, share their new blog, whatever it is that's interesting, send it to us. Send it to either me or Tom or the Steel Sharp and Steel Facebook page, whatever you like. Help us
direct
build
messages. Drop things in the comments. We're looking for ways to both expand. Oh, thank you, CJ. We're looking for ways to expand the audience, but also make things more. Yes, $100 million. They sure did.
Mm-hmm. We stayed paid up, yo.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, joy in Spelman.
Right. Spelman got 100 million. Yeah.
And that's not Monopoly money. That M is for million. Insanity.
We'll spend it well. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know that this was a particularly after dark episode, but we did cover a lot of ground. And
this was just lemon juice and water today. It was kind of
I'm just hydrating. This is just regular water. And the hand that made it perfect. Oh, but the Spellman hand.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us this week. We are going to be on a more regular schedule, except for the week of April 6th through 10th, when I'm going to be in production, and I definitely won't have time to do the show, but we will be able to talk about the Honda Campus All-Star Challenge in the immediate aftermath of that week. Awesome. And so we are looking forward to more engagement with you. We're looking forward to special guests, Chan. So we are interested in hearing from you and also having you be a larger part of the Steel Sharp and Steel family.
Absolutely.
So with that, I will say I'm Tom Cunningham.
I am Joy Stevens.
And this is Steel Sharpens Steel. Adios.